Hey guys, so I mentioned in a previous video that I filmed earlier today, but you guys would have seen it probably two videos before this one. I mentioned that Wicket recently got neutered, and I know that not everybody agrees with neutering dachshunds or neutering their dogs in general. I have had a few people tell me that, it's a gruesome practice, but my thing is, with Wicket having puppy strangles when he was a puppy, obviously, um, no puppy that comes from him. I don't want any puppies to come from him because any puppy that comes from him could potentially have puppy strangles. And I don't want to see any other dogs go through that because it was very, very hard to give him medicine, force it down his throat, force it into his eyes every day, multiple times a day. It was very, very hard. And things were touch and go for a while because he was in so much pain. And I hated seeing him going through that. Um, so that is ultimately the reason why he got fixed. But also because I didn't want him to get into the habit of marking. And my husband's dog, Squirt, who is also a dachshund, he does mark. And so I wanted to make sure that Wicket was not going to get into the habit of marking. And just a few days before we got Wicket neutered, he was starting to exhibit signs of marking like Squirt does. Like he would try to mark where Squirt had marked and things like that. When we took him to the park for the first time, he was trying to mark in the park. And that might just be something that every dog does, like peeing where they smell other dogs have peed. But I just didn't want him to start marking like Squirt does. So that was another reason why we chose to get Wicket fixed. But I wanted to kind of talk about how he's recovering. So I really wanted to be able to bring him to his surgical appointment myself, but I actually had to work on the day of his surgery. And so they wanted him at the vet's office dropped off by 8 a.m. And so my mother-in-law dropped him off in the morning, and thankfully she was able to do that because she does work, and thankfully she was able to be a little bit late to work, but she dropped him off. And I couldn't thank her enough for that. She has been so helpful in getting me places that I need to go, as well as getting Wicket set up with veterinary care and making sure that we all get to where we need to go and that we have everything that we need. But anyways, that is another video. I really wanted to say that Wicket is doing very, very well. He's doing a lot better than I even thought that he would be doing, especially on the day that he came home. My husband did take the day off of work so that he could go pick him up after his surgery. He was not able to bring him because he was bringing me to work, because for those of you who don't know, I did have seizures in October, and I have not yet been cleared by my neurologist to start driving. And so my husband was bringing me to work in the morning and would have been unable to bring both me to work as well as Wicket to his surgical drop-off. So he took the day off of work so that he could pick Wicket up from the vet's office. And he said that when he picked Wicket up, he basically just whined all the way home, which he does that when he's in the car. He whines. I don't think he really likes being in the car because he doesn't really go good places. Every time that he's been in the car from the time that he's been a puppy, other than bringing him home when we bought him, he has gone to the vet and then gone home. So obviously with him being so sick as a puppy, going to the vet so often probably scarred him because he was having to get like a rectal temperature and get shots and have his ears messed with and things like that, and having all of the puppy strangles and everything. Like, he was just traumatized from that whole experience, I think. So After the surgery, like I said, my husband picked him up and he just whined all the way home. And my husband basically put him or left him in his kennel for a while so that he could just kind of rest and be sleepy. And he's sleeping right now next to me on the couch. But he did so good even the first day. The only thing that I cannot get him to stop doing is jumping up, but thankfully it hasn't hurt his surgical site at all. His incision site looks good. I check it at least once every day because I'm so petrified after dealing with puppy strangles. I don't want to have to bring him back to the vet to have them do anything else. But again, I think everything is healing very well. He doesn't seem like he's in any pain. I just finished giving him his last dose of anti-inflammatories, and so there's that. And they said that he needed to rest for like 2 weeks after this, and it has been, this is Thursday, and this happened on Monday, so you guys can do the math there. But I just am very hopeful that he's having a good recovery. I don't know when his sister is getting fixed. She's also getting fixed, because when I say his sister, I literally mean his sister. They're from the same litter. And so my mother-in-law got his sister, and we picked them up on the same day and everything. But because Wicket had puppy strangles, there's also a chance that she could pass down to any puppy that she has puppy strangles as well. And so I don't think my mother-in-law was considering getting her fixed at first, because she had talked about, potentially having puppies and things like that. However, because of the puppy strangles issue, I think that she has decided that she does not want to have any other puppy deal with that as well, kind of similar to how, my husband and I felt because of Wicket. I just think that it's for the best to not have puppies from anyone from that litter, at least. So, I didn't want any other puppy to have to go through that. And so I think my mother-in-law feels the same way. I'm not sure when she's getting her fixed, but hers is going to be a little bit more expensive than ours, because obviously getting a female fixed is a little bit different. It's more invasive. It's easier for them to do the males than it is the females, because it's less invasive, it's quicker to do, and his neuter cost just under $250, and part of that cost included the medication, the anti-inflammatory medication. So you have to realize that as well. So it was less than $250, and I know hers is going to be a little bit more costly because it's going to take a little bit longer, and things like that. So anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys that Wicket is doing well. He is recovering nicely. He just needs to be a calm little puppy and start listening a little bit more, because I don't want him to do anything that could hurt that incision site. But I am monitoring him very closely, and he's not really licking his incision site at all, and that's what I was really worried about at first. But he's really not licking it at all, so I don't really think I even needed to be worried about that per se. He just more wants to play and be his little playful self and run around like a crazy dog. And yesterday he was trying to hump Squirt, so I put a stop to that right away because I was afraid of that hurting his incision site. But I think that's more of a trying to show dominance type of thing, because they do that back and forth. So anyways, I just need to keep an eye on him and make sure that he doesn't do anything that could potentially hurt his incision site. But anyways, I feel like I've gone around and around saying the same thing, so I apologize if I have. And yeah, I will talk to you guys in my next video.